Okay, for this earring, what you're going to need is some 11.0 silver seed beads. I'm using Miyuki, but you can use whatever brand you like. And whatever colour. It doesn't have to be silver, it's just for this border around here, and for these on the end I'm using the size 15.0 Miyuki seed beads, and the rest are all 11.0 seed beads, all my colours. And you will need some sort of crystal, which I've used on the end, or you could use a pearl or any 4mm bead, or even a 3mm bead would do. So I just thought I'd add a bit of sparkle and, you know, a bit of glam there. So yeah, crystals, pearls, whatever. 4mm I think look nice, and they give it that bit of weight to hold your tassels so that they hang real perfect. I find if you put a bigger bead on the end, hang on, let's try and twist this camera a bit, yeah. Make it weighted very slightly, it helps them to hang straight. So yeah. Right, I'm not going to chatter on too much because I'm going to try and make this as short as possible, so that, you know, time-wise, we're not here forever, because sometimes they last a bit long, these videos. So if you have not done a fringed earring before, I will show you how to begin. This time I'm using a 2-drop ladder stitch to begin. So you're going to pick up 4 of your seed beads in whichever colour you're using. Maybe you're using silver. So it's your trim colour basically. So I'm coming out of here, just going to go back up 2 of them, like so. And that's going to pop them down side by side like that. Then coming out of here, go back down these 2. She said. Making sure you keep hold of this tail at the same time, because that will pull through. So pinch your tail and then pull hard, like so. And do keep a pinch on this, but we're going to weave this in later on, this tail, so be careful not to slide it through as you begin. And now we're just going to add 2 at a time all the way along, doing that ladder stitch. So coming out the bottom, we go in the top, like so, and through. Now you're coming out the bottom here, go back up that one, and through. So if you've seen any of my other earrings, you'll know this stitch already, but if there are any beginners here, I like to make everything beginner friendly, so I'll do that one more time. 1, 2, coming up the top, go in the bottom. I've got an old American flag which was given to me by my ex-husband's grandfather, and that's got 13 stripes on it, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13 I've done that one, so yeah, 13. So you want this to be 13 beads across, so keep doing that in your ladder stitch, give it a tighten from both ends until you've got 13 sets of 2 beads across, and then meet me back when you get there. Okay, so we're back and you've done your ladder stitch. Oh, I forgot to mention you'll need a £6 or £8 Fireline, and you can use a size 10 beading needle for this. That's what I'm using for this part myself. or you can use 12, either way, whichever one you think is going to go through your beads the best and you're comfortable working with. So and for your tails, for your tassels, that's just for the top brick stitch part that you need your Fireline. I'm using this one, a £6 Fireline, and I'll be using one of these ceylon. I've been using this one actually, it's nearly run out. Like, it's a ceylon thread. I've got them, you know, in a tube. It's an upholstery thread, but it's more flexible and soft, so your tails can flap around. If you use the Fireline, it'll be too stiff for your tails. So this is only for the brick stitch part that you use your Fireline. Right, so to begin with, we always pick up 2. We're going to have silver on the outside of every row. So pick up 1 silver and 1 of your blue. And this is only for the first stitch of each row. The rest of it's going to be 1 bead that you pick up. So we're going to skip the first thread bridge and go through the second thread bridge, like so. And that's going to pop into place like that. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go up this one here, and that's where we would normally stay and come out. But in order to make this bead sit nicely, as you can see, it's like to float around a bit, so I'm going to go back down this bead, and we only do this on the first edge, you know, on the first step of each row, and then coming out the bottom here, I'm going to jump across and go back up this one, and you'll see what that does is, once you pull it tight, it makes that sit nicely, so it's nicely in place. Right, and then we're going to do navy, the navy blue, all the way along. So you want, this time you want to go through every thread bridge, one at a time. 1 bead, 1 thread bridge. So up through there, like so. I'm going to turn mine around, I actually prefer to work this way for the benefit of the camera, it's easier. It doesn't matter which way around you do it. So I'm going to go through the thread bridge, coming up the top here, through that thread bridge, and up through your bead. Simple as that. So that's your first row of brick stitch. I'll do one more stitch with you and then I'll meet you at the other end. So keep going just exactly like this with your brick stitch, through the thread bridge, and up through here. And if you really are lost, there are lots of videos out there on how to do basic brick stitch. So if you don't know your basic brick stitch, I'm sure you can find a video on it, and all my other videos are really beginner friendly, so I do walk you through it. I like to think a beginner can follow any video, so I'll try to do as much as I can of the basic stitches. So that's your brick stitch. Keep going to the end, and don't forget, add a silver as your last bead on this end. So navy blue all the way to the last thread bridge, and then add your silver, and I'll meet you back there. So this is what you should have. So ready for your next row, we're going to pick up 1 silver and 1 blue, and we're going to, excuse my dog, go through the second thread bridge. It's the first one, that's the second one there, look. Excuse me. And up through that bead, and we're just going to secure that outer bead by going back down it again like we did on that first row. So it sits nicely, so I'm going down there. jumping across under here and back up. It's fiddly, it's because I'm doing it the other way around, aren't I? Sorry, I should turn my work this way around and it's easier for me. So I'm going to go across and up through this one. Oh, don't do that. So now we're coming back out where we're meant to be, like so. And then the next one is going to be white. You're going to add one of your white to the next thread bridge, like so. And then two blue, one to the next thread bridge, and one through the following thread bridge. So I'm not including the silver. We've got one blue, one white, two blue, and another white. Back up. And two blue. Not two blue, one and then another blue. What am I doing? Focus. One blue. Done it again. And again. There you go, one. And two blue. One white, one blue, and one silver. Like so. I'm going to turn our work. And basically, what you're doing now is just making sure you've got, you know, the whites alternating. So yeah, here we've got the one, and then one white, two blue, one white, two blue, one white, two blue. So that's how it's going to work out. So the next row is going to be two blue, one white, two blue, one white, two blue, and then your silver. Don't forget your silver on each edge. So it's going to flow. It's pretty easy to follow. So the next row, like I said, you do your silver first. Oh, sorry, silver and your blue. Miss the first thread bridge. Go through the second one, and then back up through this bead here. And on that first set, we're going to go back down this one. As you can see, look, it sits sideways. Once you reinforce it, it will sit nicely in place. So that back down the silver, and then back up the navy, or whatever blue as dark as mine, like so. And then another blue. So. And a white. Like so. And then two blue. One. Two blue. White. And just follow like that. Two blue, one white, two blue, one white. And your silver's at the edge. So as long as you've got, you know, the blues, the whites not touching each other, like that one, and just keep going backwards and forwards. So at some points you will have a white one on the edge. But yeah, so keep going like that till you get to the end of that row. Right, so you've got to the end. Now, what you see on this row, you've got two blue here at the edge. So you're going to want one silver and one white on your needle. And go through your second thread bridge, like so. Up through there. And don't forget we're on our first set, so we're not going to continue on. We're going to strengthen this edge by going back down that wonky bead. Then jump back across to the white, and then give that a nice hard tug upwards like that in that direction. And then you see it pops into place quite nicely and keeps it there. So right, and then we're just going to carry on. Two blue, one white, two blue, one white, and then obviously it's going to be your silver. So just keep going like that, following this pattern of two blue, one white, two blue, one white, and you'll see whether you need to put a white or a blue at the beginning of your row, by whether you've got two blue sitting under it. If there's two blues sitting there, you know you need to begin with a white. So it alternates as it goes up. So keep going like that until you get to the top, and then I'll show you what to do. Okay, so we're back. I've left it to the last two beads here. So you should have this. Then you're going to pick up two silver and go through the second thread bridge, which leaves you with those two like that. So I'm going to come back up here, back down that one, and then jump back up the one beside it, like so. Right. Now at this point, I've added a thread protector, or wire guard, thread protector, whatever you want to call it, which you don't have to do. You could just do a loop of beads here, where I've used this, in which case you just count out how many beads you want in your loop, add them on and join it through here, and then reinforce. But I'm going to show you how I did it with the thread protector. So what we do is take our thread protector, like so, it's like a little metal horseshoe, and what we do They're very small and fiddly. Stick your needle up one side like so and pull through. And it's going to sit like so. So once you've pulled your little horseshoe thread protector into place, you're going to pick up, because I like to make them look a bit ornate, otherwise I think they look a bit not so pretty right there. Just, yeah, it needs a little something, doesn't it? So, no, too close. So what I'm going to do is pick up some 15 seed beads in silver to go around the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't remember how many I used. Let me actually count on this one. Hang on. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you want 8 of your little 15 seed beads. And just the way these are designed, it's got a little groove down the edge where your thread sits, which is kind of open, look. So I'm going to let the beads sit there and go down through the other little bit of the side on my thread protector, down through this bead here, just that top one, like so. And then when you pull it, go gently and not too fast, because then you just want to position them so they sit on that groove, look. There you go, just like so. And then you're going to jump across from here, go back up through that bead and hopefully the thread protector. There you go, back up through there. This is where you might need to switch to a size 12 beading needle, depending on, because it depends on the brand. Some of the size 10 beading needles I think are thicker than others, and they don't go through so easy. You can see how that sits now. So I'm just going to reinforce and go through those little beads one more time, those 15 there, and secure everything into place. Make sure you go through all of your 15's. Don't have to go all at once, but you know, make sure you go through all of them. Don't miss any, or you'll have thread showing at the end. So down through those next two, the last two of those 15's. So that was 8 we used. So I'd say, yeah, 8 fits really snugly on these thread protectors. And I think they look a bit naked otherwise. I suppose it depends what you're making, whether this is appropriate or not, but I think they look really pretty with the beads around the edge. So, and then you've got to get back down this side of the thread protector, which can be fiddly, and through that bead as well, look. Back down through there. And like I say, if you don't have a thread protector, just make yourself a loop of beads, which I'm going to be doing on this tutorial. This one's going to have a loop of beads at the top, so if you don't know how to do that, you can watch this tutorial. But that's going to be a longer one because that's more complicated. So if you're American, your flag, it's nice and easy. The British one, not so easy. So yeah, right, once you've done that, you want to make a couple of little knots here on the edge. I'm going to do one on the edge like so, right here, in between those beads. Make sure you get it in the right spot where you have thread showing again. Right, nice and tight, pull that tight, and there you have it. And I'm going to weave down and do a couple of knots on the way down. You can weave it in through here and do your knots, because you don't maybe not want to clog this side up or make it bulky, but I don't think it's going to show from the outside, so I think you could easily get away with just knotting a few, you know. And if you have a size 12 beading needle, by all means go ahead and maybe go around that once more time. But it's probably not 100% necessary to go around it too much. And we are using £6 Fireline here, so it's good strong stuff, don't forget. How many times you want to secure it. So do your knots like that. Some people like to weave in here. I've done on other videos where you weave in here and do your knots, but I think that will suffice going down the side. So once you've done your top piece, meet me back and I'll show you how to add your thread to make your tails, and a couple of tips on tails. Right, meet me back here when you've done all that. Another little tip for you when making your tassels, I'm using this ceylon thread, which there's not much left on this roll, but can you see how curly it comes out? Look, when you take it off the roll, it's very crinkly. So I'm going to take my, however much length you want to use. I'm using a full wingspan here, but if you're not comfortable working with that much thread, you know, you don't have to. And what I do is I get my waxing, this is my thread waxer. Look at the state of it, it's been very well used. That black thread has made it dirty. And first of all, I'll just take one end, which is the end I'm going to thread, and drag that through. And then I'll do it with the rest. And look how curly this is, can you see? And watch what happens when you wax it. So I'll take my thread, and then just pull it through piece by piece like that. Keep going, pulling it through your wax. Like so. And voila, like magic, that's straightened your thread. And not only has it straightened it, it'll give it a longer life and make it much easier to work with too, because it sort of stiffens it up, as you can see. But not to a degree where it's going to affect the tails on your work. So you need to always remember as well to pinch the end of your thread with your pliers, because it's a roundy type thread with a I need extra light for this, thread my needle, with a flat eye for your needle, so it doesn't make it easy for threading. So it's always best to give it a squish with your pliers. So yeah, just get this threaded up. It's not going to cooperate. What would you know? Because I'm on camera, huh? Right, there we go, threaded. So once I've threaded up my needle, what I need to do is I need to add thread to this piece, and I need to be coming out of here. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of thread. You can add it anywhere in and out of your work, or you can add it to the edge, just wherever you think it's going to look best. But I think I can get away with doing it right here. I'm going to add my thread between the beads here. I think, no, I'm not going to do it here. I'm just going to do it on the edge, I think, because we've got plenty of space there without it showing. So I'm going to go all the way. On some projects it's not a good idea to do your knots and things like that on the edge of your work, but I think this will be fine because the knot is definitely going to slip down inside your beads, and we don't need to come back through these again at any point, so it's not going to matter if there's a knot in there. So tie your knot nice and tight. You can do that in a double knot, you can, you know, whatever you want to do. And then I'm going to slide down here, hide that knot, and then once it's popped inside the beads, I can cut that tail off. And you can feel it pop, it goes pop when it goes inside. So now I can get rid of this bit. Too many, oh gosh, sorry about that. If there's too many tail ends hanging around, it can be quite irritating. So you just want that knot to be away from where you're cutting. Make sure it's popped through those beads first. Oops, the wrong needle. That's for the other piece of work. Where's the needle? There it is. Right. There we go. Right, so you can do as many knots as you want along the way, just to make sure it's super strong, like so. And then, like I said, as many knots as you feel you need to secure your work, without clogging up your beads too much. And then I want to be coming out of here. And there is another annoying tail thread. I'll have to weave that in at some point. Alright, for now I'm just going to keep it out of the way like that. And now comes the easy bit, because if you're doing the American flag, it's super easy. From here, all you've got to do is add your tails. And I counted on Grandpa's flag, and there's 13 stripes. So, and you've got options here. So what you're going to do is, I'll show you how to do a tail in case you've never done one, or maybe a couple. I'm going to pick up 30 of these red seed beads. Okay, so I picked up my 30 beads. I'm going to pick up a red crystal, or whatever bead you have chosen. And this is where you can vary it, because you can make these tails as long or as short as you like. You can also alternate them, so you could have, you know, one length for the red, one length for the white, so they sit slightly up and down, or you could have them, you know, so that they start off short and come long. You can variate the tails, but I've just made them so that they kind of look like a flag, rather than, you know, you can fancy them up so it's the same colours but not quite the same pattern. Do it how you like. And on my flag it's always a red one on each side, so, and there's 13, so that's why I made it 13, the width 13. So yeah, add your crystal, take 3 of your 15 O's, and this is where you might again need your size 12 beading needle, because some of the 10s don't like to go through these tiny 15 O's. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drop those down all the way, and then we've got our tail here. We're going to go back up the crystal here without going through the beads, just without going through those silver ones, just up through the crystal, and then up through all these beads here. Now you're not going to get them all in one swoop, so just as many as you can, and then pull through your thread. See how it makes a little picot on the bottom. So I'm going to tighten that up. Then you want to go through the rest of your beads all the way to the top of your tassel. Now just go through as many as a time as you're comfortable with. I've been doing this a long time, so I can whiz up loads of beads at once. But if you can't, don't worry. And then you want to go up through those first 2 there like that. So go through all your beads and then the first 2 of your baseline on your brick stitch work. So once you've done that, you want to check, make sure your picot's sitting nicely, make sure everything's in place, make sure you haven't missed any beads, then go ahead and give it a tug. Now, in order to make it not too tight, otherwise if you make them too tight they're going to be stiff and they're not going to dangle. So what I do is I pull it tight to start with, like so. You can see that's tight, it's, you know, rigid. And then what I will do is I will bend it. Everyone has their own technique. I've seen some other techniques and I tried them and mine came out really loose. So this is the way I've found is best. So just bend it like that and pinch it. So you're simply bending it over so it's laying even like that and pinching it. And then pull tight. And that'll give you just enough space for your dangle, you know, to give it some motion. So I'll pinch it tight and then go back down through the 2 beads beside it on your baseline there of ladder stitch. Remember to all the time be nice and careful not to tangle up your thread. Said she, getting caught in a pair of pliers. Get off, pliers, get off, hang on, sorry, I've got tangled on these pliers here. Right, pliers be gone. So yeah, keep pulling all the way through. And then tug really nice and tight, but all the while pinching like so. And then when you let it go, you'll find there is just enough give for the dangle, but you don't have a gap, because there's nothing worse than you get to the end and you've got these gaping gaps here in your work. So then, yeah, same again. Now that you've done your first one, then you could do less, but I'm going to pick up 30 white. I'll show you one more time. Okay, so I've gone ahead, threaded my 30 beads in white, and then I'm going to add my crystal, and of course you can use a pearl or any kind of crystal, bicone or fire polish would be a nice one. I just happen to have these bicones. The white ones are Preciosa and the red ones are Swarovski. I've had them for a while, so. Right, then we add the 3 15-0s for our little picot. And then we're going to go miss the 3 silver 15-0s, go up through your crystal or your pearl or whatever you're using, and as many of those beads as you can. I've got quite a few there, that's quite good. And then pull your thread through, nice and slow, take your time, because otherwise you're going to get into a tangle and it's going to be a mess. And at this stage you really don't want to be having tangles. So yeah, I've got halfway up, oh, more than halfway, not too bad. And then go up the rest of your beads on your tassel, and if you can, up through those 2. If not, just go through the white ones and go through those separately. But you'll find the more you do it, the more practiced you get, the easier it will become to do these things. It's just practice, really. Right, and again, pull it nice and tight, make sure everything's in place, give it a double check, because once you've got it attached, it's going to be really hard to undo. That's one word of warning. Some kind of beading, you know, when you do it, it's really easy to go back and alter, you know, correct any mistakes, but with this, not so good. So try and get it right first time if you can. So nice and tight, and then again, this time you take both of them, like so, and pinch. So you're simply folding the whole thing over like that. Pinch and then pull hard. Oops, back down through that one, through the 2 beside it, look. So we're coming up through these 2, you're going to go back down through those 2. Nice and slow, take your time. You do not want a knot in your thread. And it's easy for it to tangle up as it's passing through like that. You end up with a little knot there. If you go too fast, when you're working with a lot of thread, it happens quite often, believe me. Right, so then let it go, and that should be, you should have motion, a bit of motion and movement, but at the same time, there's no gap, look, no baggy gap at the top. So then you just got to keep going like that, basically. 1 red, 1 white, 1 red, 1 white, 1 red, 1 white. Adding your picots at the bottom. Do, like I say, be very careful, go nice and slowly, take your time, don't rush it, because when you're pulling through, back up through here, and say you've got your thread hanging out, and you're pulling it up, and you've got a loop of thread and a bit of thread here, if you pull too fast and it all gets tangled up, you can make an awful mess, and it's so hard to unknot this ceylon thread. I find it much harder to work with than the Fireline. So yeah, word of caution, keep going like that, and then when you get to the end, you simply go up these beads here, your last 2, and then I would recommend bending your, your last one over like that, and tying a small knot here, go up here, another small knot, go up here, another small knot, and then, pull out your thread and tie off, and that's simply all there is to it for the American flag earring. And you will be finished with you will end up with this. So in order just to make the video as swift and easy as possible for you, I've not gone to the end. Obviously I'm going to go away and finish this one, but I think that's all the information you need to be able to complete the earring, rather than sitting making the whole thing and making the video way too long. So there you go, that's how to make your Stars and Stripes earrings. I'm about to do the one for the Union Jack next for my British followers, so anyone who wants to do that one, there's a tutorial going up next for this one, which I absolutely love. It looks very, what's the word, regal. Very regal, very classy. I really, really like it. So the tutorial for this one, I'm about to do the second earring here, and I'm going to work through the whole earring with you, because unlike this one, it's not a case of one row of red, one row of white, which once you've seen each one, obviously you can complete that to the end. Now you know what you're doing. But with this one, it's a little bit more complicated with your mixture of beads that you're adding, and it doesn't necessarily work one half one way and then even the other side. So I'm going to have to show you, you know, pretty much all of it, but I'll try and compact it down and make it as doable as possible without making it hours long, because one, they're hard to load to YouTube, and two, no one wants to watch hours long video. It's much easier if I can compact it in a way that you can understand it without me having to complete the whole piece, you know, sitting here on camera with you. So I reckon from what I've just showed you, you can complete this earring. If not, feel free to put a comment in the comments below. Anyone needs any help or support, I'm more than happy to give tips, answers to any questions you have. Yeah, so happy beading, enjoy yourselves, hope you like it, and hello to all my American friends across the pond. Have a wonderful day, and happy beading to everybody. Just one more little thing I forgot to mention is that this tail end here that we've been talking about, what we'll do is add a needle to it, put a needle on, thread it back up through here, down through here, just through the silvers, up through this one, and then maybe do a little knot there, back down, back up, and then cut your thread off. So it's just a case of weaving your tail in. You follow your beaded path, or you can do it up this way and tie some knots, or you can work it in through here and tie knots. You know, either way, you just don't forget to tuck this tail end in by weaving it in, and I suggest you leave a reasonable tail, enough just to put a needle on so that you can get through some of these beads and make a knot. So yeah, that's it, that's all there is to it. So I will see you in the next video, which will be very soon. So I'm about to go and well, I'm going to finish this one, and then I'll do a tutorial on that other earring. So happy beading, see you all soon, have a great day, and don't forget to keep your eyes peeled in the second week of November for my Christmas giveaway. Okay, thanks for watching, see you all soon, bye everybody.